Welcome to Mutant Radio 1, with me, your spinal disc jockey. But first, radio need bottle caps, so listen to sponsor.
Have trouble with tiny human breaking meat bags, stealing bone collection? You need Human Be Gone!
Ouch, my weak human skin burn.
Human Be Gone contains special painful things! Like acid, green stuff from barrels, and bits of human skull. Just spray at human!
My stupid human face now melting.
Human face leaking now! Ha ha ha!
Why spray? Why not just smash feeble human? Smash it fun! Smash! Crush! Destroy! Ah! Why you spray my face? Not deserving eyes? How I meant to see stupid human? You created this. You should suffer with your arrogance.
Fucking human. Spray. Human be gone. Human in pain. Then gone. What have now?
Now for clips from humorous holotape found on bodies of 3 tiny humans. Enjoy.
Have you guys both made Sanctuary Hills your base?
Yes.
Because it seems natural, but I've met perverts who have disgustingly made their base in all sorts of other places.
Well, you know the other places that unlock?
Yeah.
I do evil things, and I'm sorry.
You strip them, don't you?
I strip them bare, take all the stuff out of the workshop, give it to my companion so we can get back to Sanctuary Hills, and then never think about it again.
I with some of them I do the same thing. I'll go somewhere, there'll be 2 settlers, and I'll go, there's loads of nice stuff
They
here.
refuse to move. I try and send them to Sanctuary Hills. This character can't move from this.
If they've got a name, they can't. But what you can do is just attract some normal settlers. There's normally 1 or 2 that can move, and you just create a trade route, and then suddenly it just shares.
No, I don't want them influence. I don't want them to come to my city, see how amazing it is, and then have to go back.
No, you
I don't think they'll do that, Colin.
Yeah,
I don't think
they
it's
will.
that
It's
involved.
really harsh.
You give everybody just enough to, survive and look after each other, and you go round, you build up all bases just enough
No.
to keep them on
And do you
top
know
of.
why no? Nobody's helped me build my base. You haven't seen them volunteering their services, bringing me some metal to craft. No, I've had to go out and do it all myself. Why should I then have to go to somebody else's bloody base and make them a turret? Make your own damn turret, you lazy bastards.
They're too
don't
busy
know how.
farming.
Well, I've been busy farming and building
No, you
turrets.
haven't been busy farming.
I planted
You've
my
gone,
corn.
I'll throw some corn on this bit of the floor, and then in a couple of days it'll sprout more.
Well, that's farming. That's it. That's farming.
You've got a person there who's going, I've got to carefully cultivate this, because that wanker's just chucked a piece of corn in front of me.
Did anybody
and
put the
expecting me to
whiny
grow
bloke
something.
who lost his son as the farmer? Because I was just hoping it would shut him up.
No, I made him a guard, so he'd sit there going, I'm so sad at the front of this.
I can't eject him from the city because I've really been trying. Because I was like, "You're whining. I've lost my son, and I'm not whining this hard. Get the hell out! I know he won't leave. They'd be sad."
Oh, that's really...
I made him stand there in his underpants looking sad at the front of my Sanctuary Hills, hoping that he'd just depress raiders into leaving.
I've made him look like a badass. He's got combat armour.
Oh my god, he's got shoulder pads, he's got raider things on his pants.
Oh, he's my.
No, you're so big.
He's standing on the outpost thing, so you can't see him, and then he just wanders out sadly with his
You
little pipe
guys
pistol.
have seen my my base. You've seen my little garden, my farming section.
Yes.
But the house next to it, I opened up, made specifically for the gardeners. Mainly so that somebody would actually sleep in a bed for a change. I thought I'd help the AI out a bit.
Yeah, we'll come
get
to
on to that.
Yeah.
He's the only one that doesn't have a bed. I've decided he doesn't get to sleep until he cheers the fuck up.
Colin, that's
dear.
not how you help depression.
No.
Well, it is the 50s,
Yeah.
so actually this is how we help depression.
Yeah,
we
fair
slap
point.
people until they get better.
We touched on it a little bit with people running into rocks.
Oh, God.
We've talked about it a bit when you've mentioned people not going to sleep. The
Yeah.
game is glitchy as hell.
It's a Bethesda
always have
game.
been,
It's
yeah.
it's a Bethesda game. If it's not glitchy, then we're not going to enjoy it properly.
Even the original Fallout had problems. I mean, when we got
To a lesser degree.
some of it was to do with censorship and stuff like that. I mean, Fallout 2 because of laws, I think in Germany at the time, that children weren't allowed to be put in harm's way. They were all removed from the game for the European edition.
Yeah.
Which completely screwed up an entire city in Fallout 2. You could completely blow your game up doing the wrong things there.
Yeah.
Which admittedly was to do with other things rather than the game. But there's always been wibbly bits in the game.
Yeah. I just feel there's greatness there.
Yeah.
But there's just sometimes it annoys the living bejesus out of me. I've spent so much time and so much effort in Sanctuary. I built a 4-story pleasure pyramid. I built my four-story pleasure pyramid right in the middle of Sanctuary, and no one could find their way up the stairs to get to bed. And so I had the most wonderful place in the world, and it was wonderful. I went to the extent of putting, laying out where they went. I worked out this is going to be the dining room.
Yeah.
So I put plates down. I put a vase in the middle of the thing.
Ooh,
everyone
lovely.
had cutlery in the right place. I was getting really, really obsessed with
That's
it.
ridiculous. I mean, that must have been a pain to get that in the right place.
Okay,
It
I
was.
just put tables and chairs down and was
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
But it looked amazing. It looked like the kind of place you'd walk into in the game.
Yeah.
Now, no one could get to bed, so I had to completely demolish the whole thing
We've
and
never
start
seen
again.
stairs in the apocalypse.
Yeah, you'd ask them what's wrong. It's the bed situation. We've all got to share beds. It makes us really sad. There's 29 beds here and there's 20 of you. Stop it. The other thing is that whenever I came back, ever so slowly, everything that I placed, all the items I placed in the nice places, started to tumble through the furniture and land on the floor.
The reason,
And it made me so angry.
Are you sure it's the game and not your
Yes.
settlers who've gone, I'm tired, I'm
and
not
moved.
picking this up and putting it back in the right place and just dropping
I've
the
got to
things
throw
on
it
the
down the stairs.
Stop
I want to sleep!
stop making excuses for it.
No, the reason for it is it preloads the game. It preloads a lot of the game assets in order to make, because it is an open world and you can go anywhere without loading screens, apart
is
from
sort of-
inside areas.
Yeah.
But the reason it works is it preloads a lot of the stuff.
Yeah.
The problem is our bases aren't preloaded because they're unique to every person who's built it. I mean, I haven't seen your guys' bases, but I'm sure they're very different from mine.
Yep.
So what happens is you walk into Sanctuary Hills.
Yep.
It's already loaded everything else. It then loads your base separately. I don't know if you noticed on mine, when I crossed the bridge, half my base wasn't there on the horizon, and then when I finally crossed into it loads it.
I deliberately went up to the vault that's above the town,
Yeah.
got out a sniper weapon to have a look at my town from above. So I thought, I built a
be nice.
4-story pleasure pyramid.
wasn't there,
It's
I'm
going to look
guessing.
amazing. There were lots of beds and tables floating in the sky.
Yeah,
It was wrong.
that's because they're
And there were no
assets.
people in there either.
Yeah,
it
that's
doesn't
because they're assets that are preloaded.
Yeah, you can appreciate the technology of it, but
Yeah.
come on, I want to be able to decorate.
Well,
if you've got
it's-
a building bit in a game, let me decorate.
They
Let me.
managed it with Skyrim and things like that, because, I mean...
It never happened in Skyrim because I had my little lodge,
Yeah.
and I would lay out all my different treasures and things like that.
The same similar engine was used, because enemies and stuff
that's
stayed, and
because
they
it's-
drop in occasionally if you loaded in an area too quickly, so
Yeah.
quick save and stuff.
But I mean,
Classic
with
engine,
your house in Skyrim or Oblivion or wherever you were, the reason that all your stuff stayed where it was is because when you go inside, it loads all of that.
Because you've got bits of it aren't loaded.
Yeah, when you load
Yeah.
when you load the game, it loads everything outside. When you step inside, it loads the inside area, and it loads everything inside that area. If you can, I've seen it because I did it deliberately as a game student. If you can see inside the buildings before they're loaded, and there is a way of doing it, if you turn the angles right, you'll see it's nothing. It's an empty hollow shell.
Yeah.
It's only when you go in that it loads all of that.
Okay.
That's why all your stuff inside
Yeah.
stays, but because the settlements were all outside, your stuff's going to fall through because it's loaded that fork up 4 stories in the air, but it hasn't loaded your base. So the moment you step in, there's a delay between the physics and your base loading, so your fork just falls through the floor.
Yeah, and it's forking annoying.
Yeah. I'm never been upset by Bethesda's glitches because stuff only glitches when you're either A, really bad at programming, or B, in Bethesda's case, you're pushing the boundaries of what's capable.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that they're doing that.
Yeah, I'm still annoyed. But
Yeah, it's annoying.
I'm still building my base. I'm now taking into account the fact that I can't need beds right next to where they work on the ground floor with some stairs to it and an arrow, and you need to individually.
So you might want to give it a go again, because my beds are 4 stories up.
Yeah.
And everyone's sleeping now. Everyone's going
It's
up there
something to do with the stairs.
Yeah.
There's been lots of discussion because Fallout's so popular. There's lots of discussion on how to get around things and stuff like that. I just want it to work.
Yeah.
I'm not that fussed, and I've played recently, and they're still talking about it, and I just want to bang their heads together.
I mean, I did when you guys went out to go get food. The upstairs dining area I made, I put the food and drink, and she finally appeared. I went up there, and she was there, and I took a screenshot because I was so happy. I was like, "You do know the place where it is," but that's the only time I've seen her there. She seems to get upset about going upstairs.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, all my villagers in Sanctuary Hills, they congregate round the restaurant that I've built. Which is
nice.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
So they've got set things. So when they're not working, before they go to sleep, they go there. But they just stand around in a pack.
Yeah.
I've put tables and chairs out. I've put outside lights. I've got the sort of the garage bit, the covered area, the porch, whatever it is, some American word, area on the side of that particular house, because I've used the houses as sort of shops and such like. Okay. I've put loads of tables and chairs out. I've decorated it, and they just stand near the stuff.
It's because they're not programmed
to interact because of the asset loaded.
Occasionally, one of them will sit on a chair.
Yeah.
Occasionally, one of them will lean against the electricity pylon and eat some noodles.
Yeah,
when that happens, I'm like, "Wow, that's good."
Yeah.
And then I see behind them 7 people just standing arse to jowl, going, "Hello, Jeff." It's just not good. It's just not good.
Out to go get food, one of them started working on my power armor.
Yeah.
That was like mind-blowing. So I went, Jesus Christ, my companion Piper has walked over, she's knelt down, she started work. I was already working on one of them. I was putting the hot rod paint on one.
Yeah.
And she started working on the other one.
Nice.
And then very quickly she seemed to realise that I was looking, and so I out, ran into a wall, fell over, exploded, game crashed. It was hilarious. But, for that brief second, I was like, oh my God, this is a living, breathing world.
Warning, podcast may contain hyperbole.
Yes, it is frustrating. I've had to build a secondary entrance. I only wanted one way in, one way out, and then completely walled off.
Yeah.
I've had to put that back gate in by where your initial workshop is, because every time I walked into Sanctuary Hills and it loaded the assets, my characters would be loaded outside the wall by the workshop and therefore couldn't get inside.
We can't understand how we got here.
That might be where all my settlers have gone, because I'm sure there's not 20 of them.
Yeah. I mean, I've had...
I'm sure it's lying to me.
I've had the... who's the guy who keeps trying to save...
Preston.
He walked into the wall when it was there, kept walking, started glitching. You could see him, the body started shaking, the wall was going crazy, the frame rate really slowed, and then he appeared on the other side of the wall.
That's because he's a synth.
Did his whole rounds, then walked back, got really confused, and then stood there, and stood there, and stood there, and stood there. And then my happiness rating started dropping, because I think he wanted to go to bed. So I've had to put in a secondary entrance just to keep them happy.
My happiness rating drops when I'm not allowed to go to bed, but, I can step up a slight curb in order to get there.
Yeah, I mean, Preston walked into my bell. And then when I moved the bell out of his... the summoning bell. When I moved the bell to put it out of his way, he then turned to go round the bell where it was and walk straight into the bell where I then was.
No, I love Bell.
Yeah. After that, I gave up and just went, no. But I have found the more I'm playing, the more they seem to be finding the locations. I don't know whether it's just luck, but like all the guard posts I put on the second floors that they never went to.
When something's
they're all standing all on it on the second and third floors, and I'm going, my God, they're actually finding places.
When something's brand new, it seems to confuse it.
Yeah.
When you load it back in,
something new happens, we get confused.
True.
Yeah.
Like stairs.
What are we talking about again? What? I'm my own uncle. What's going on? That was a bit too random, wasn't it?
That was weird.
Mutant Radio 1. Ha ha! So funny!
Welcome, Mutant Radio! Up next, 9-Inch Nails!
The thing is, that's what they've done with Fallout. They've moved it more towards Skyrim, the Elder Scrolls, and vice versa, because they've actually moved the Elder Scrolls more towards Fallout with the perks rather than your skills and things. So they're kind of merging together in one.
Yeah. Which might be adding to the kind of, not the blandness of it, but the reason why it's not necessarily enthralling us as much, because, again, we're a bit overswamped with that similarity.
I actually have a slight different theory. I don't mind the fact that most of the missions are heavily combat and a lot of people are going to die.
Because combat's fun, yeah.
Not because of that, because of the change in timeline.
Yeah?
In Fallout 3, there was no farming.
No, because we didn't have killing water or anything to work off of.
And from what I remember when talking to people in Ribbit City, they had scavengers whose job it was to go out into the capital.
I'm sure I found a potato in that game.
There were, yes, but it was all scavenged rather than farmed.
Ah, scavenged potatoes.
Yeah. I remember...
Have to hunt them.
Natural potato.
And I remember talking to a guy in Ribbit City who was a scavenger, and he was saying that the job's got really hard because they've cleaned out the surrounding area, and now they're having to move into super mutant territory to find food for the city, and they were questioning the sustainability of Ribbit.
Yeah.
And in fact, if you went to the kind of scientist, he had a potted plant, which is a bit like our mutant campaign. They were just kind of getting to the verge of growing crops.
Yeah.
In Fallout 4, everyone has crops, everyone has farms.
Everyone has potatoes.
Now, if you follow human history, this is where it might get boring, sorry listeners, but we were all hunter-gatherers, and we existed in family groups that roamed around, normally staying out of each other's way.
Yeah.
It wasn't until we invented farming, everybody started settling down, and that's when the real kind of violence kicked off. That's when we're finding all the first murders, large-scale massacres.
Why? Because it seems if we're sitting still, we're going to rub up against each other less, because Jeff and his family
what happened
are over the hill.
Yes, but what happened was...
less people to expand further.
Yeah. You also
You've got one person owning a larger piece of land, whereas a hunter-gatherer family would have a large area, but there'd be a lot of them in that large area.
You also had...
You'd have one person in that large
So you'd say, this is my territory, rather than we all just kind of wander about.
Yes.
And we'll get on with it.
So that person's wandered into my territory, we need to stop them doing that next time.
Because that's my crop that I planted, not...
Yeah.
Oh, he's going to go over there. I've already eaten all the berries.
Yeah. You also have, bear in mind, you have the transitional period where Family A have settled down, made crops. Family B are still hunter-gatherers, because it takes time for whole of civilization to change. I mean, hell, we still have hunter-gatherer tribes on nowadays. So the hunter-gatherer tribes go, we haven't eaten in 3 days. Look at that. They've grown food. Let's go get it, lads.
So you've got raiders coming up against the settlements.
Which is why when you go to a settlement and they go, raiders keep taking our stuff, go kill them all, I don't mind, because it's almost a weird version of history where I'm going, well, Fallout 3, we were the hunter-gatherers that were talking more because there was no need for conflict, because we were scavenging.
Yeah.
Now Fallout 4, because people have stuff, we're saying this bit of land is mine. That's when human violence starts, because... he's actually got something, and therefore I want it.
I will say the Wasteland seems incredibly passive.
Yes.
Everything's frozen, and then you come along and you're basically just kicking hornet nests as you go, and things start occurring. There's lots of stuff obviously linking back to the old world, and there's loads of stuff that's happening right now. It doesn't feel like 200 years has passed.
No.
Because you're talking... especially with the lowered lifespans and things like that, you're talking 8-10 generations of people?
Yeah.
It feels more like it's 50, 60, 70 years afterwards.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of change. You don't come across the city that rose and fell in that 200 years.
No.
You sometimes find like some wooden shacks that have obviously been abandoned and used to be used.
Yeah.
But actually, I mean, the corpses that you find
are skeletons
from the war, generally. You're not finding remnants of all the people that have lived in the middle.
No.
And it's just grating slightly. It's starting to break.
See, again,
my brain's obviously overthinking it because I've played it so much.
See, again, I think that, by the fact that they're all hunter-gatherers.
Right.
They've come out of the vaults, they've survived the nuclear apocalypse. No one knows how to farm. I know some people do know how to farm, but say us three survived the apocalypse.
Land.
None of us know how to farm. The first thing we'd have to do is go find a supermarket to find food. So you don't have the city that rose and fell because everybody's roaming around looking for stuff. It's only when the farming begins, which I like to think it's around now. It just happens to be around the time you've awakened that farming's begun. That's when your cities start.
Yeah, but it's interesting, like going into the Super Duper Mart. And I may have gone off on a massive tangent that we won't keep. But going into the Super Duper Mart and you're finding bottles and cans and things like that. That's fine. But you also find a stand full of melons.
Yeah,
now,
that is a bit weird.
Are they 200-year-old melons?
Yeah.
Or has, in the recent history, someone else tried to use the place as a shop, but then they'd have cleared out the caved-in roof?
Yeah.
It just feels like...
There's a big disparity.
Yeah, it feels very soon after the fall in places, and yet in other places it's not, and the
other games have had this fleshed out
a little bit more
groupings of things and how everything interlocks and works. Yeah, it's lacking a little bit. The first one, you're part of the tribe. No, second one.
Sorry, the second one, you're part of the tribe that came out of the vault and then sort of became a tribe.
Yeah, right.
Because
so they regressed because they didn't know the technology.
Yeah, and you were farming and things like that. The first one, you just came out of the vault, didn't you?
You just opened up because you needed to get out.
And again, in the third one, you came out of the vault because that. But there was some contact secretly and some trade and things had happened.
Yes.
And there was history. That felt like there was a bit of history to what was going on. Whereas in this one, it just seems a little bit like there's too big a gap for nothing to have really happened in between. Have the people of Diamond City lived in Diamond City for 200 years?
Or is it something that's only been there for 25 years?
Yeah. And then where did they come from and who founded it? It just feels slightly off to me. I don't really know if this bit's going anywhere.
No, I think it fits because the previous games, again, this falls back in the storyline of things. They'd really thought how this world might work and survive. And all the Fallouts had kind of have that. Even New Vegas was very particular on, these groups had met from across a breadth and were fighting on this middle kind of neutral ground, which had its own communities of things because they still had electricity from an area that no one else had.
It was right. We've got the dam. The dam still works because it's hydropower, so it doesn't need to be connected to anything else. And it would, in theory, continue working.
Yeah.
That means lots of people came here when they survived. Then the dam stopped working, which has caused all these problems. Yeah. And you've got that sense of, okay, this is what's happened in the time since.
And it's like
you don't get the history of
the area.
You don't get the history. What you need is almost like Mass Effect with codex entries.
Yes.
So it goes, you found Diamond City. Oh, if I go into my codex, I get a lovely, nice, soothing voice.
Someone to say, just to
started
it
50
falls
years
back
ago,
on,
blah, 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 blah.
I mean, it falls back on, the noodle stand kind of thing. They talk about it like it's an important part of their kind of cultural history.
Yeah.
And, there's events that happened there. There was an synth attack there 50 years ago in one of the things
that was fun to read. Synthetic truth.
But it doesn't feel like that while you're there.
No, it doesn't.
Again, there's some read-up of it, but there's no real evidence of it around
It'd be really
society.
nice, if this is the cultural centre of the town, you'd go there and meet some people, get a job, find a quest, get involved in some intrigue, because it's where everyone goes.
Yeah.
Like the mayor of Diamond City, normally, in a Fallout game, you go to a town, you go to a village, you go to a city, you go up to the person in charge and go, hey, life in the Wasteland's really tough. You must have something that you want a tough survivor like me to do.
Yeah.
He just goes, I'm very busy. That's all he's ever said to me.
Yeah.
Beyond,
he does get involved later.
But it's almost like you're looking to stumble on something else that then brings him into it.
Yeah.
Whereas if this was, if this was a pen and paper RPG, and we're now veering into comparing mediums, but a
it's
pen and
how it
paper
used to work in
RPG,
these ones,
you would
yeah.
say that to him. You'd go, "What do you need doing?" And even if he went, "I don't trust you, go away,"
You feel
That's
like
something.
it feels like you've had an interaction with him. Whereas at the moment, he's just a man that tells me he's very busy. He's just sitting around. He's not doing anything. I can see you. I followed you around for half a day.
You're waiting to complete that plot line to suddenly then make him go, right.
I came across a house in a really, really dangerous part of the waste with a ghoul family that lives there, Mr. and Mrs. Peabody. And I was like, huh?
Okay, carry on.
Do you murder them, Colin?
No, they all died.
Oh, I haven't triggered any kind of quest. I've run in there and I've gone, there's a house. Survived. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Peabody, how are you doing? What are you doing in my house? Not a lot. Talk to the other one. Hello, it's a very dangerous area. You probably shouldn't be here. That's all they'll say to me. I haven't triggered whatever quest it is. Your face is twitching in a weird way.
I'm sad.
I've made you sad.
Yeah.
Go on then.
Mr. and Mrs. Peabody. Investigate. Blah, 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 blah.
Did they give you a quest?
No, they didn't have time to. I walked into the area and it triggered a quest. Unfortunately, a band of gunners walked in and killed them all. Literally, killed every single one of the Peabodys. Dropped dead, all of them. So I killed all the gunners and then the quest died.
Okay, I haven't had any quest trigger when I went into that area.
It went, speak to Mr. and Mrs. Peabody. And I went, okay. Oh, gunners have just randomly spawned. The ghouls have run out. Everybody's got killed. And now the quest is over.
Mutant Radio 1.
Me sad. Must have 8 Radiohead LP. But me happy now. Me make new Radiohead. Take one human, remove head, put radio on human head. Ha ha ha.
Fast travelled
Straight into
a
combat.
firefight.
Yeah.
Now, the world is loaded like 10 seconds before you appear.
Yeah.
So I've appeared taking damage while my companion's halfway through a firefight.
Yeah.
And I'm going, what's going on? What? I've lost half my health, and what's happening? And it's very, very, very odd.
Do you know what's really funny when that happens? When you die, as it autosaves? I was trying to do the swimming quest.
No.
Because there's a quest you can do with swimming, and I went, I've got loads of rad away, let's just do this.
Yeah.
Couldn't find how to do it, but I had very little health left, and because of the radiation had taken most of it off, it autosaved, and then I started to drown, and it just went... Pfft. It then automatically, it reloads the latest save.
Yeah.
The problem is, it does exactly the same thing when it loads as you fast travel. It starts the game before the screen comes on, so it went loading. And then you could hear, while the screen was back going, blah, 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 blah. As the screen then came up, it went, dead. Well, it turned straight, faded to black and loaded. I had to turn it off, turn it back on again to get into an earlier save, and then haven't done that quest until I get Aqua Girl.
Brilliant.
But yes, the fast travelling or spawning or just jumping straight into a firefight is a bit odd. I did do it actually while you were at the shops. I was trying to level up because I want to unlock the science perk. So I just fast travelled to this place expecting a fight and walked straight into a landmine. I spawned on top of it, which was hilariously funny, and I got loads of XP points, and then it reloaded because I also killed the 4 raiders that happened to be standing next to me.
Yeah.
But yes, it's a silly game.
Yeah.
Mutant Radio 1.
LOL. Welcome, Mutant Radio Singalong. Baby, baby, baby.
What's the location? Because I don't know. Have you been to the... This is off track, really, and this might get cut, but have you been to the General Atomics?
Yeah.
No, I haven't yet, actually.
With the big Mr. Handy in the centre.
Yeah.
Because that is funny. There's essentially a theme park with all Mr. Handys, and they're all playing up. Each building is different. You've got like a bowling alley, a cafe, a shop.
Yeah.
I walked into the cafe after taking out the 2 Mr. Gutsies that were guarding the place,
Everyone else stays friendly, though. They've just gone a bit mad, haven't they?
Yeah, I killed them all. Well, yes, I won't explain why I killed them all, but there's something you can do.
Yeah. There's a little quest in there, which is quite nice.
But one of the things that I walked into the cafe and he went, "We've only got coffee. Everything's gone stale. I put in a order 150 years ago, but they haven't arrived yet. I really must chase them up." And you can see there's gas going on in the kitchen. So is that gas? He's like, yes. It's been happening for 72 years. Maintenance haven't turned up. They're lazy immigrants. It was like, fucking hell. At that point, he goes, right, would you like coffee? I was like, coffee? Yeah, why not? And he goes, right, okay. Today's coffee is 100,000 degrees or so. It was like 600 degrees or something like that. At which point, it takes you out of the talking, and it went, right, just be careful, because this was going to be steaming hot. At which point I went, gas. And you're boiling something. Ran out the doorway as the whole place exploded.
Yeah.
Nice.
Which made me, first of all, go, God, I'm a genius for getting out of there. But it made me piss myself laughing, going, that's really funny. And it does that. Every building I went to, something like that happens.
And this is the thing I was saying, there's that bit, again, quite quirky, quite interesting, that little area.
God, that was mad, that place.
There's just not quite enough of them.
No, there isn't enough of it.
Mutant Radio 1.
Me find book. Book say, all have is time. If time feel long, then feel like live long. Jet make time slow down. So, if take enough jet, mutant live forever. Now me junkie and family no talk.
We've all played women.
Yeah. I always play a woman in these games first time I play them. I might play a bloke second time through, but I prefer...
Do we need to
after
check
playing
our
Mass
privilege?
Effect? No.
Mass Effect.
We are checking our privilege by playing women.
Yes. But I always play... This probably all will be cut because it's going to be completely off topic. But with RPGs, if I'm playing a good guy, which is never nowadays because I like being evil, I play a bloke. If I'm playing an evil person, I always play the woman.
Who hurt you, Colin?
What
did she do?
I think it's
because you don't see it in story-based stuff very often. Because
People are scared.
My
no, women are supposed to be caring and loving and all this other nonsense, rather than treating them like human beings who could be either.
I got punched out in a nightclub by an ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, because women can be as violent as blokes can. So you try and play something like this, make it more
Statistically
interesting.
less, often.
Well, yes, but if you're basing statistics of crime reports, it depends on what's reported. I mean, let's be fair.
You set off the inner sociologist in me, you bastard.
I think it's because when I first played Mass Effect, I played a good guy.
Yeah.
And then I went, fuck this shit, decided to replay it, built the character who I'm now stuck with for the rest of the trilogy.
Yeah.
And every time I've replayed the trilogy, I still play her. And immediately started kneecapping people because they weren't doing as they were told. And I'm doing the same thing with Fallout, going, I will ask you once.
Mutant Radio 1.
Welcome back, Mutant Radio. Now we ask questions of special guest, Dog Meat. How do you, Dog Meat? How good. So, me here, you slayer of many mutants. Tell I, what secret? Silence is secret. Mutants, be more stealth.
Now, for final track of day, Critical Twits with Vodek Prison Blues.
I heard the nukes are falling, this is the world's end. I ain't seen civilization since I don't know when. And I'm stuck in Voltex prison, and time keeps dragging on. But the news keep exploding on my wasteland home. When I was just a baby, a raider told me, son, always follow Vault Boy, always play with guns. So I shot a man in New Reno with bats right in the eye. Then I set my Gatling spinning and watch the townsfolk die. Ha 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 ha! I bet there's rich folks eating in a fancy rat-free bar. They're probably drinking Nuka, eating mullet caviar. Well, I've got nothing common, and bottled caps ain't free. But my XP keeps me climbing up that skill perk tree. Well, if they freed me from the vault, if that right away was mine, I bet I would just be a little less inclined to die. Far from Vortex Prison, that's where I wanna stay. And I let that lonesome mini nuke blow my blues away.